Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, inspiration, and hope. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and our show today is the Corner Bookstore, where we feature authors and people who are interested in writing and helping those get their work out into the public from all across the world. Our star of our show is Diane Floyd-Boehm. If you don't know her, she is an international award-winning author. She's also a superstar when it comes to cooking, to baking, to gardening. And I saw recently that she's a singing Santa Claus. So there's not much that she can't do. Let's welcome her to the show and find out what she's been up to.
You cracked me up, Dr. Jacqueline. I was singing to that parrot, and it was singing
back. That singing in Dubai. I love it, Diane. You lived all around the world, and you've got so many stories that are still inside of you. But as we can see behind us, we have a number of your works right here. Tell us a little bit about where you got your passion for writing, and then we'll bring on our guest for today.
Well, actually, it really comes to my passion for storytelling, which then led into putting the stories down on paper. And I have to give my mom a lot of credit for that, because my daddy read too. He usually just read one book, generally a week. But my mom had 2 or 3 books going at the same time in her purse, because she thought that kept her brain super active, having to switch into different settings, which always cracked me up. Even at 89, she was doing that. And so it's just been a part of our life. And we each, as kids, had our own little area for our bookshelves and so forth. So it's just a part of me, Dr. Jacqueline.
I absolutely love it. And thanks for sharing that part about your mom as well. It's interesting. My mom passed away recently, as you know, and she's so many books. I can't believe it. She was reading and reading until she got dementia. Then she wasn't reading so much. But I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I never really was paying attention to what an avid reader she was. And so I love the fact that we have this show, and we have had people, as I mentioned, from all over the world who are authors. Today, we have 2 people backstage who you know very well, you've been working with, and they can help people who are watching our show. Tell us about them.
Sure, I'll be happy to. I was very fortunate to learn about them through Amy. I never say her name right, her last name, but she owns Abundantly Social. And she told me about Mickey, who became my publicist, who then turned around and told me about these incredible women who own Norns Triad publication. And they took me on as one of their authors. And I feel very blessed. And here they are today.
Fantastic. Let's welcome them to the show. Hello, welcome, JM and Sahara. Nice to have you with us today.
Hi, nice being here. Thank you for having us, and thank you for those kind words, Diane.
Yeah, thank you. We're blessed to have you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I've heard a number of wonderful things about both of you and about your organization. And I know one of our other team members is also one of your clients, which is exciting. Yep. So I don't know which one of you would like to start and talk about Norns Triad publications and how you can bring value to our audience. All right, we're going to go with JM first. You're up.
Okay. Norns Triad is, we started as a collaborative publishing group between 3 authors, and we've grown from there. We've been in We've been together for 6 years. Currently we have 10 authors all together right now. We try to keep it a family. We put quality before quantity. We believe in working together in community, and so that's like our number one value, is making sure that we have quality control, making sure that everybody's working as a team and everybody's supporting each other, because it's such a difficult industry, and it can be so frustrating, and you can feel so alone, and you can feel so disheartened, that it's good to have a place that you can feel connected and feel like it's home. And so we try to make Norms Triad that place, a place where you can get knowledge, a place where you can get support, and a place that you just feel at home and feel community.
I absolutely love what you just shared there. It's not about quantity. It's not about getting zillions of people. It's about taking the people that you have and giving them a very special experience. So congratulations. Sahara, what would you like to add to that?
Yeah, and that is, oops, sorry, I'm adjusting my chair. And yes, and that was our main focus when we started Norms, is that we wanted to be different than the other publishers out there, because both Julie and I met through a publishing company, and it was a small press one, and we saw what was done wrong, so we wanted to try to do it the right way.
Excellent. And of course, we're going to ask you a little bit later, maybe to share some key learnings for our audience, because we do provide education here. Diane, what's your experience been like working with them? I love to get live testimonials.
I love them. Everything that Julie just said and Sahara is so true. They are building a family. All of us authors get together, and we have a meeting about everything that's going on. They answer all the questions so that we all know right away at the same exact time what's happening with the industry. They're always teaching us. I can't say enough. It is a family.
There you go. You can put that on your website.
Yeah. Means a lot.
and I can see they've grown too, because Sahara makes the most incredible trailers for us authors. I'm just blown away. She made my first trailer. I just literally started crying. You didn't know that, did you? I was just like...
Well, we're going to take a look at one of those trailers, and then we can have a conversation about it. But before we go there, I'd love to have both of you share, JM and Sahara, for people who are self-publishing and they're thinking, well, I just do it myself. I go over to Amazon and I don't really need to work with anybody. What are your thoughts about that? What's the value of doing self-publishing, and what's the value of working with someone like yourselves?
Self-publishing.
Whoops, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Self-publishing, they will make more money because they're not dividing the royalties between a publisher. But there is a lot of hurdles, and that they have to do the marketing and all that stuff too, which they still do even with the publisher. We do a little bit of marketing, but most of it still is up to the author. And editing. I cannot stress that enough. Don't put out a badly published book.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
And
don't trust an AI to get the publishing.
No.
And that's just the thing. AI is not copyright protected.
No.
That's the thing. I think your biggest benefit that you're going to have, yes, first of all, you're not going to get rich being an author. You're just not. That's not how the industry works. Very few of us are going to be Stephen King or J.K. Rowling. And very few of us will have overnight success like Veronica Roth. That's just the reality. When you self-publish, you are going to get more of the royalty back to you. But the benefit of being with, say, like we're considered a hybrid press. The benefit of that is you're going to extend your reach because you have a whole team that's there that has established readership and established audiences with their social media platforms, with their own readerships, because we're not only publishers, we're writers ourselves, and we can extend the reach that you have to expand your own audience. But then also we all have our own talents and we all have our own knowledge. And so what we do a lot of times is we share that with one another, and that gives you a benefit. So whereas like I'll do Sahara does a lot of in-house editing. We have beta readers. We have, I do the bulk of the in-house editing. Sahara makes book trailers and book adverts and such. We all have different talents. Our we call her our silent partner. She represents us on the UK side of the world for us. She goes to different book events over there and represents our team over there and extends our reach internationally. She also makes different graphics and different videos and such for social media. And we all take different aspects that we help to support our team. And that's what it is. And our authors help to support our team because they all have different talents. And the benefit of being with a press like ours is you're going to get that, because if you try to self-edit, it's been scientifically proven that your own brain will fill in the gaps and it will correct things because you know what you're trying to say, or the information on the backstory, or so you're going to actually have plot holes and you're going to miss things, and even the best editors need to have editors. You know what I mean? Because your brain is designed to feed out all of the chaos. And by having this team, not only are we getting that benefit of having good editing and having good beta readers catch things that even the editors miss, because there's always going to be something missed. Like I always tell everybody, you can have a manuscript that's 100% perfect by standard A, but there's other standards. There's colloquialisms, there's regional teachings. There's if you're going by the Queen's English, if you're going by American English, if you're going by you know what I mean, there's just all these things to take into account. So you might have it perfect by one standard, it's going to fail by another standard. So it's good that we have an international team, because then we get to look at it on a bigger scope as well.
Excellent points. I just learned something myself. Thank you very much. And you had mentioned at the beginning that you're working with 10 people right now. How do you decide who you're going to take on, and how often do you take on new people?
Yeah, that's the question. Right now we are full, but it's just Julie and I, and then Kaz on the side. So we are kind of full right now. But yeah, we've gone through some authors that didn't fit. We talked to them. We'll interview them first ahead of time to see if we fit, mesh. And there's a few we took on that we thought we would, but we didn't. And so, you really don't know until you start working with them whether they're going to fit our group or not.
Mm-hmm. I just wondered, because here on this platform, one requirement I have is that people have to be coachable. Do you have the same kind of thing, that people have to be willing to take direction from you?
Oh, yes. Very.
I think the biggest thing is you have to be willing, and us too. Like I always tell all of my authors, and I know Diane can attest to this. I'm always like, fight me. You have to be willing to, if you're not passionate about your work, why should anybody else be? You know what I mean? Especially, you have to be willing to see how you can improve, and you have to be willing to fight for the things you believe in, because I might have a certain knowledge level on X, but that doesn't mean that X is the right way to go, because, and this is going to sound bad, I know, that old saying where they say, there's more than one way to skin a dead cat. I'm sure there's a better adage than that, but That's the one that I grew up with. Sorry.
I didn't know the word dead was in there. I thought it was just more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
But it's dead cat.
You're not going to skin a live one.
Well, hopefully not.
Oh my God, I'm going to have PETA after me.
But you know, Julie made a really great point, because I remember when she told me, okay, now you really need to tell me what you think. And I'm like going, my brain is thinking, but maybe she knows more than me, so I shouldn't say anything. And so she really had to say, tell me what you think. And I'm like, okay. So there was actually on one of the stories that we kept something the way I wanted it, and then I moved and made changes where she really thought it was best. So I really love their style, and being able to work with them, and flexibility. So I'm always learning. So there you go.
Well,
That's what life is all about, isn't it? Learning.
That
And
is
that's just
absolutely
the
right.
thing, is we learn from each other, and that's the magic of. I always say this, and Sahar always says this. I think at least once a day we say it to each other. That's the magic of norms, is that the magic comes not from one person, not from two people, but it comes from our team. That is why I say you need to find not only an editor that meshes with you and your personality, and that, because it's so personal. Your writing is so personal. You need to have an editor that understands you and knows how to communicate with you. You have to have a trust there. You have to be able to be honest and direct. And that's another thing that Sahara and I always try to do, is sometimes to a flaw, is we're very direct, we're very honest, because it favors nobody to pretend. You know what I mean? We all have a stake in what we're trying to do. We want the same thing. We want the best product, because we want the reader to experience the story the way that we want to experience it, the enjoyment that we want to have, because we are all readers first and foremost.
Excellent points. Thank you. One question that I have, and I have this myself as an author, but also for people who come to our platform, is about marketing. Marketing seems to be that mysterious, that recipe that we just can't seem to get. I know for myself, I've done all kinds of trailers, on ads. And the one thing that I did realize is that if one person sees an ad, maybe they're not taking action today, but they could take action in the future. Maybe they're telling someone. If you don't have any marketing, no one's going to learn about you regardless. What do you think?
I agree 100%. And it is Business 101 that says advertisers know this. A consumer will look at an ad at least 7 times before they'll act upon it. So you do have to have your information out there. You have to push yourself. A lot of authors don't want to push themselves, because most authors, to be honest, are very introverted, and they can't even see putting themselves out into social media. So it's really hard for them. But they do need to learn it. There's just no way around it. You're not going to make money just publishing a book and putting it out up there on Amazon. Nobody cares. We've got last I read, I think there's like 8 million titles out on Amazon, so it's oversaturated to begin with.
Yeah, it's so true. I know myself, I've called Amazon KDP with various questions over time. And the last time I called them, I spoke to 5 different people and got 5 different answers. And I thought, you guys don't even know what's going on in your own company there. So it's good to have experts like yourself who are actually guiding authors through down that path, because first of all, you have to have a lot of time. Like what you said, you have to be passionate and personally invested in getting the word out about your projects.
Yeah.
Yes. And there are marketing classes out there. Mm-hmm. Some of them are very expensive, but there are some free ones that are worth it to check into how to do Amazon ads or how to do Facebook ads. So that is something that every author should learn how to do. But there again, it comes down to the 2 main things with your advertising. If it's not working, you have to look at your cover. Your cover has to be genre specific. It's something the readers want to see and they associate it with the genre they love. And that blurb, the blurb cannot just be a humongous block of text out there on Amazon. It has to be broken down. It has to entice them from the first line they call it a hook. It has to have a hook at the beginning to grab a reader to read the rest of that blurb. If it doesn't, you're going to lose them.
That's
Excellent.
true.
And
And I
defer
also
to
just want
her.
to say, Sahara and Julie put together a book tour, and I am in the process of it now. And out of all my book tours, this is the first one where I've had people sign up for my newsletter.
I was going to ask you if you've seen any
Yeah, so I'm very excited.
subscribers. Cool.
Nice.
That's
So maybe you
excellent.
could share with Dr. Jacqueline. I'm sure she already knows, but and for our audience about book tours.
Yes. So we are using Silver Dagger Book Tours, and they do those. They have a list of bloggers that they send out your tour to, and they then post it on their websites, and they have their followers that will follow you, or follow the tour. Basically is what they're doing. They're going from website to website. So it's also, if you're a blogger and you're looking for traffic, that's a good way to get traffic to your blog too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Fantastic. That was a gem that was just dropped right there. People watching and listening. Thank you.
It's great content for a blog if you don't know what to put on your blog.
Yeah, I just wrote it down, by the way, of course. So
Silver Dagger Book Tours is amazing. Maya is the one who runs it, and she's very professional, and we've been incredibly pleased with our partnership with her. She's incredibly organized, and I'm very happy because Kaz, Sahara, and I are all avid readers, avid reviewers, and avid bloggers because we believe in the community and we believe in that support, and she's making it possible for us to connect further. And I'm a huge advocate of her. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
thank you, Julie. At Norns Triad Publications, you mentioned again about the 10 people that you're working with. So do you find that they are writing across certain genres, or are there not certain genres that are required to work with you?
And that's funny because when we started Norms, we were just the three of us, and we was sci-fi, fantasy, romance, and then suddenly all the new authors we brought on are all children books. So yeah, so we felt we made a big pivot, and now we're into children's books.
I love
Simon and me.
Yep.
And Mary.
Well, and then Julie and her husband have come up with their own series, children's books too. So
yeah, the oil change.
Yeah. My husband's been wanting to write for a long time, and he's like, "You keep helping everyone else. Would you help me, please?" Like,
So how's that working out now?
really good, really good. He's learning a lot because he actually helps. He helps with Norms a lot, which is, I mean, he's wonderful. He's such a support, and he's very insightful. And it's interesting to have his perspective because this is going to sound terrible. He is not a reader. He's a magazine reader. He loves technical manuals, and he loves magazines, and he loves editorials and that sort of thing. And so coming from that side of it, he gives me a very different perspective on things, and it helps because, again, like I say, you bring all these different viewpoints and you bring all these different talents that all of us have, and that's where the magic comes, because we all have the same objective, but we're coming at it from different angles so that you get to see it the way that multiple readers would. And I think that that's what gives us a benefit, because you're not just looking at it one dimensionally.
He owes you a dinner.
He cooks for me a lot, so.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I'm kind of a princess. He kind of pampers me.
You know, one of the things that I think is interesting to note and to ask is you said yourself you're writers, but owning a publishing company takes up a lot of your time. I mean, that's a full-time job. How do you find time to write?
Currently, I don't.
Yeah.
There's the answer.
Published, and they're still sitting out there. Yeah.
I
Me, I don't write.
books, and I just cringe because I haven't actually published something new since like 2018, which is like when we started Norms. And so I have a bunch of books that I'm rewriting and, you know, trying to clean up because, you know, I was a novice when we started, obviously, and I've learned a lot. And I can see where I did things wrong, and I can see what needs to be fixed or how we need to change things. And then I also look at it because obviously as a writer and an editor, my writing is also showcasing my abilities as an editor. And so I look at my old writing and I'm like, I see things, and there'll be some things I'll pass over to Sahara and I'll be like, hey, I'm rewriting this. And she'll look at it and she'll be like, you yell at me for this all the time. And I'm like, I just don't know how much of this I should rewrite, or, you know, because you don't know that constant, like they say, can't remember who said it. And that's terrible because I love this, this kind of, I'm paraphrasing the quote because I love it, but I can never remember who said it. They say a painter never actually finishes painting. They just learn to set down the brush. And I feel like that with writing, we never truly are satisfied as writers. You never are like, oh my gosh, this book is perfect, I'm so done with it. You know, because you're constantly learning and growing. You're just always like, oh, I want to go back and fix that. I want to go back and fix that. You know, or that's so embarrassing, I should go fix that. But there's some point where, like, I'm always bugging Sahara on this because she's always like, you need to move forward. You need to just let that go. And so the balance between how much do you go back and fix and how much do you just say, okay, I'm growing and readers are going to accept I'm growing, let's move forward. You know what I mean? So there's always that happening. And I think for me that personally as a writer, that comes into play along with, you know, the time crunch of helping to publish as well. And I feel very responsible, and I feel I feel a serious commitment to what I do. And I feel that my readers deserve the best of what I can do. And I feel that my authors deserve the best of what I can do for them. And so I tend to agonize sometimes. And poor Sahara has to put up with it.
How often, or how do you determine whether or not an author should redo their cover? So they already launched their cover, it's been out there for a while. Do you suggest or recommend that they do an update to their covers?
Well, and that's an issue now too. When we were just under KU, just exclusive to Amazon, we could change anything we wanted at any time. Now that we're wide, it costs money to change anything on Ingram Sparks. So that's something you have to think about when you put that cover out there and you're going wide. You're going to have to make sure it's the proper cover to begin with and the right blurb. Otherwise, you're going to pay money.
I think the time to do it, there's certain, obviously there's certain times that you're not required to get a new ISBN, and there's certain times that you are. If you're looking at having to get a new ISBN anyway, that's a good time to reevaluate if you need to make those kind of bigger updates. And usually when we're pulling in a cover, we're looking at, does it fit the genre? Does it fit the target audience? You know, because you can have something that fits the genre, but you have certain genres that are just so wide, like children's books. I mean, children's books are like 0 to 14. I mean, technically, right? I mean, 8 to 12 is considered middle grade, but really you're kind of looking at like 6 to 14 kind of covers more middle grade, depending on the level of the you know, the reading level, and depending on who you're targeting. And then you have like, you know, 0 to 8, depending on the children's book. Is it a board book? Is it a picture book? Is it a, you know, beginner reader? Is it a chapter book? There's just all these things to take into consideration. So you have to also take in your target audience and their age group, and you have to consider, you know, trope expectations. You know, there's a lot to consider. And so I look at that kind of things, and then I sit down with Sahara and I say, okay, these are some of the things I'm thinking of creatively This is what they have. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm comparing it to. Now, you as the market guru of our team, and she takes a lot of marketing classes. She's brilliant. She always teases me for saying it, but she's brilliant. And I say, okay, how is this? Will this be salable? Will this be appropriate? And then she has to look at it from a whole different angle of things that I don't like to consider or look at.
So why y'all work together so well.
I don't like taking marketing classes. I
But-
like to do the
But an answer too is that when if you're marketing your books with Facebook ads or Amazon ads and you're getting clicks but no sales, that's the time to look at your cover. That's the time to look at your blurb.
Interesting.
Excellent. Yeah, that is interesting.
Mhm.
A question I have that I actually have heard both sides from authors is about giving your books away for free.
They're still divided on that, to be quite honest. I think the last report that I can't remember the name of the Writers Media or something. They do a yearly survey of authors, and they're still split. Some authors still say, yes, giving away giving away the first book in the series for free is great, but that's only if you have a long series. If you don't have a long series, it won't pay off. And then other authors are all, no, it's got to be 99 cents or more, And it's the same thing as, what do you price your ebook at? $4.99, $5.99, $3.99. There's such a variance in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to look at the trending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. I noticed recently that at least a few people on our team who are authors, not Diane, but other people, that they're part of the Amazon Kindle free. I forget what exactly it's called, and their books are all zero. So I don't know how that works either.
Yeah.
With Kindle Unlimited, they allow you to do free 7 free days a year. Or is it every 90 days? Something like that. I can't remember now. But you get to put your book out there for free for X amount of time every 90 days. So that's what a lot of them do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like it could be a worthwhile trade-off if people were to leave reviews, but of course that's another enigma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my experience, I've given away for free and hoping they're going to turn around and write a review because that is a request, and it doesn't happen. But
Right.
the people who purchase the book, I guess because they have something invested in it, they write a review. So, but still, you don't get enough reviews. And I mean that in the sense of, at least on Amazon, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, they went like 15 reviews before you can move up in their placement.
That is a myth. There's
Oh, it
nothing.
is? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
that's a myth that has been out there since I started writing, since I started publishing, and it has been discredited many times. There was also, once you have 15 reviews, you're supposed to, bump up in the algorithms. Also the same thing with 50. Oh, you got to get those 50 reviews so that people will see you. Amazon will push your book, and they don't. It has nothing to do with it. It's all about your keywords and your metadata. That's what it really is.
Mm-hmm. What the reviews and the star ratings come into play for is different promotions on different platforms. So like something like BookBub is going to look at something like that. So when you're looking at trying to get into something that's more competitive and buying like an ad spot, they care about how many reviews do you have? What's your star rating? So that does come into play with that kind of thing. But as far as like the actual algorithms, it's not going to get you the visibility necessarily on that part of it. What gets you the visibility? They're constantly changing the algorithms, and to keep up with that
is a nightmare.
Yeah, it's
like
a hard thing to do.
They just recently changed their categories again now too. So,
yeah.
I wanted to share this with you. I recently published a book, and to your point, there's no money. But for me, the most important thing is that I get that little orange brown banner that says top new release, or that's really all that I care about when it first gets published. And so I noticed that this book, it's an activity book. It was number 2, but there was no little banner. So I call KDP. And by the way, I check every hour. As soon as it goes out, every hour, I'm checking, refresh.
It gets obsessive.
So that was the example where I spoke to 5 different people to find out why is it in the top new release, but it doesn't have the little banner. And if it doesn't have the banner, the reader, the potential customer, doesn't know because it's not on there.
Yep.
So I was told it was because it was too soon. Then I spoke to someone else and they said it's because I didn't have any reviews. Then the third person said it had nothing to do with reviews. It had to do with ratings. So when I got to the last person, I said, can you just be honest and tell me that you have no idea whatsoever? And she's like, I really don't know. And I said, okay, here's what I'd like you to do. You have your computer there. Go to my page, put in my name, and then scroll down to this book. Do you see anything on there with the banner? No. Okay, go down to the left side and look at the categories and look at the number. Click on it. Go to the page where you see the book. Do you see the cover? There it is, number 2. Do you see anything referencing that on my product detail page? Oh, no, I don't have any information about that. I'm like, aren't you in products? I am, but I don't know. Yeah. So finally, the end of the story was I finally called, I hung up and I started all over again. And I got someone who told me that the algorithm will not permit certain books to have the orange brown banner on certain days because certain days of the year are set aside, I guess, for I don't know, but for
probably the top publishers. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it matters what day you publish it. And I said, is this written anywhere that, I didn't say it actually. You never heard. I'm like,
yeah. Traditionally, they used to always publish on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge day for publishing. And so like Tuesdays, and then it was like Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so the days that you publish sadly do matter.
That's interesting.
You know, that's interesting because most of my books come out on a Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's why.
Changing that. Goodbye. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, in the time that we have left, let's take a look at this beautiful clip that you put together.
That was my first children's book trailer, and I loved it.
It's fabulous. It gives just such a great feeling, so positive and really well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We just have a couple of minutes left, and I want to bring up your website. So let's take a look at it. Here it is. What would you like people to know about the website, where to go, what to take away from visiting?
Leave that to you, Julie. You're our website developer.
I think you can buy direct from us if you go to our ebook store. We're constantly updating it and adding our books, to it. We're constantly releasing new books. We have 34 books on the schedule for the next year and a half to come out. Please check out all of the authors. They're amazing. All of their links are out there. If you go to the author pages that are on our website at www.normstriad.com, you can actually link out to all of the authors, to their individual pages, to their websites, to their Amazon pages, to all the book pages. If you click on the books themselves, if you go to like normstriad.com/books, you can actually go and you can click on the universal links. Those universal links give you the availability to go to any vendor that sells it. So we try to update those on a regular basis, so you can decide if you want to go to Amazon, if you want to go to Barnes and Noble, if you want, if you're in Australia, you can go to Booktopia. If you're in France, you can go to FNAC. If you're, we have all of that out there. If you want to buy it from a wholesaler, you can. And all of our books are available too at your local bookstore, but they're print on demand, so you just have to request that they order it for you.
Also, if you liked my book trailer and you're looking for one, we have an services tab up there at the top too, to set up for a book trailer.
There you go. Fantastic. And how are you deciding who you're going to work with for the book trailers? Is that do they have to be an author you're working with?
No, I've made book trailers for Diane for one of her books. Ruby Goes to Chicago, that isn't one of our books. And I've made a trailer for a friend of mine who doesn't, she's not one of our authors either. So basically they have to have a decent blurb for me to follow, because it's based on the blurb, more or less, and they need to have their own ideas of what they want the video to look like. But yeah, and we collaborate. I will collaborate back and forth with the author, what they want to see, what they don't want to see, if they like the music, if they don't like the music, So yeah,
we also do adverts, and Kaz and Dusty can help with those as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. This has been a very interesting and informative show. I really do appreciate it. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you? SaharaFoley@gmail.com.
jmnorthup.com or normstriad.com. NORNSTRIADS.com. It's Norsk, so it's not norms, but it's pronounced norms. It's norms.
I was saying to myself, I keep saying norms, but they're saying norms. I'm looking at them like, is it norms? Is it norm? I'm on the website. I'm like, it says norms, but they keep saying norms. So glad you cleared that up. Thank you.
I think it's an accent.
I was having a breakdown over here. Okay, very good. We have to close out as our next show is coming up, and they're already contacting me. Diane, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
My website, DianeFloydBame.com. You can contact me right there. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here. We really do appreciate it. Our next show is coming up. It's a special edition of Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire, and it's brought to us by the British School of Excellence and Mr. Philip Sykes. So please do stay tuned, and then we will have our regular scheduling for the rest of the day. Thanks so much for being here. Bye for now.